Welcome to the Dermastore Podcast.
A chat about all things skincare, skin health.
And if you're a real skin nerd, we hope you'll join the conversation. Welcome to the 8th episode of the Dermastore Podcast. How's it, Lara? How are you doing?
Good morning, Greg. I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Cool. Nice to be in spring again.
I am loving it. The energy is up.
Cape Town is having still a little bit of wet weather, but we are energized and feeling good, ready for the last sprint to the end of the year.
The mad rush.
The mad rush. In true podcast tradition, what did you use this morning?
I am obsessed with my new cleanser. It's the Derm Acne Over Purifying Gel.
I used the exact same thing this morning.
It is... it's just the best. I don't know where it's been my whole life. So I love that. And then I used Face Juice from Butte as my hydrator. And then I actually did a double serum this morning. So my second serum was Dr. Barbara the Better Bee, the niacinamide serum.
Very nice.
And then I just finished with, really, it's a surprising fave for me now is my Lamel Urban Defense, the SPF 30.
Okay.
I am loving that sunscreen.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
I like it. It's quite hydrating. It's easy. It applies on beautifully. It doesn't have that sort of sticky sunscreen feel. So that's what I've been using.
I've maybe judged that product too early on. When I first got the tester, I just wasn't sure how to fit it in with an SPF 30, and it felt quite thick. But anyway, I need to test it properly.
I think give it a bash.
Okay, cool.
What did you use this morning?
Well, so ditto on the Derm Acne Over Cleanser. Loving it. Such a great, just easy to use, non-stripping, non-drying cleanser. And then, controversially, I used the new Exuviance Vitamin C Serum, which is actually such a talking point because we're not officially launching it. And here's the reason why. The Neostrata Serum is exactly the same. And it's the same price. There is no difference between the two. So instead of confusing people about that, just buy the Neostrata one. We might launch it later. Maybe give us feedback. If you really just love to see the Exuviance brand on your shelf, then tell us. Otherwise, full transparency, there is zero difference between these.
Absolutely. They are identical.
Yeah.
But I think there is a reason for that. We know that, Neostrata, its positioning is more medical, and then Exuviance is professional.
They're almost positioned in different settings, retail settings. Obviously on Dermastore, it's all on the same platform. Like I said, let us know if you disagree with us and we'll maybe include it. Yeah, and then for my sunscreen, I use the SkinCeuticals Physical Fusion UV Defense. It's a pure mineral sunscreen, easy to apply and suitable for all skin types. A really lovely everyday sunscreen if you prefer a mineral base. So I'm actually using a product that we don't stock. The Kiehls Powerful Strength Line-Reducing&Dark Circle-Diminishing Vitamin C Eye Serum.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is from Kiehls. I really like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a brightening eye
It's
serum.
actually not the first time you've said that. So this is a good one.
It's a good one, and it's kind of got more of a silicone base, but it's pure vitamin C. So that's a really nice one as well. We are very excited about today's topic. It is a concern that comes up on our support on the daily, so that is why we're tackling it. Like our previous episode on hyperpigmentation, we're here to give advice and hopefully help people in a real tangible way who are struggling with these issues. And joining us in the podcast studio once again is our dermatologist, Dr. Ian Webster. Let's kick things off. Rosacea, a very common dermatological condition, would you say?
Yes, very common. Very common.
Who does it mainly affect?
It mainly affects women with a fair skin, and it sort of starts around in the 40s.
And do you think it can happen earlier or onset earlier?
It can, yes.
Okay.
And it can obviously occur in males as well. You get different subtypes of rosacea. So in males, they get what we call rhinophymatous rosacea, where they've got bigger pores. And unfortunately, with that type, your nose can grow bigger. You can get something called rhinophyma.
Okay.
So that's more the men. Women don't tend to get that type, fortunately.
Okay. Yeah. So what is the rosacea diagnosis? What does it look like?
Well, number one, sort of the full house is you get women or men with rosacea tend to flush or blush. You get redness of your face. You get little red bumps and little pustules. And then you get telangiectasia, you get broken little capillaries. So that's a sort of full house. Okay. And then you can also get ocular rosacea, where your conjunctiva becomes involved. And as I explained, you can get swelling of the face, and your nose can grow bigger.
Okay. So with all those features of rosacea, can you experience all of them, or do you only experience one or two of them at the same time?
So you do get what we call pre-rosacea. So you can actually see people who are more likely to develop rosacea. So they often do have a fairer skin. So they might have a fairer skin, and they tend to flush or blush, and they get the slight redness of the face, but they don't actually get the papules and the pustules. So that's not full-blown rosacea. That's what we call pre-rosacea. And if I see those in my practice, I will again counsel them about the right products to use, etc. If they haven't got the full-blown rosacea yet.
Okay. And so something that we often struggle with on support is identifying, because it can get confused sometimes. And the reason why I say that is sometimes the skin is red, so it's flushed and blushed, but there are pimples on the skin. Is that part of rosacea?
Yes, so often the problem is rosacea is not diagnosed properly. It's misdiagnosed. People think it's acne, and then they use the incorrect products and actually makes the rosacea worse. So the key is with rosacea, you don't get comedones. When you examine the patient, you don't see comedones. So you see the redness, you get the little red bumps and pustules, but you don't get comedones.
And so comedones, for layman's terms, is blackheads?
Blackheads and whiteheads.
Okay.
So that they've got acne.
Okay.
But the problem is sometimes you get people with rosacea and acne. So that makes it even more tricky. But that's rarer.
Okay.
So sometimes you do get that combination.
If we've identified now that this patient has rosacea, what is the next steps with this patient?
So then I explain to them, listen, you've got rosacea, and then I explain to them that unfortunately rosacea tends to be a chronic relapsing condition. So there's no quick fix. And there are various triggers with rosacea. So with rosacea, you get what we call vasomotor instability. So people with rosacea tend to flush or blush more easily. And then there are various trigger factors. And I say to my patients, anything that causes you to go red in the face will aggravate the rosacea. So it can be extremes of heat and cold. It can be alcohol. It can be saunas. It can be hot baths. So I always say to my patients, it can be the sun is a major trigger. I say to my patients, you must still live your life, but you've just got to be aware of these trigger factors. And it's quite a long explanation, and I often give them a little tear out to explain to them, because you're giving them a lot of information.
And it's got a lot to do with lifestyle. And something that you've said before, Dr. Webster, is it's a trade-off. So they've got to choose, and so alcohol, for example, you said that it's a major component to contribute to the flushing and the blushing and the redness of the cheeks. So you've got to choose whether you want the flushing and blushing or that glass of wine.
Exactly. So if you're going to exercise, obviously exercise is good, but don't go out in the very cold mornings, can also make it worse, but very hot. So you want to try and keep yourself at an even temperature. But obviously exercise is good.
Yeah.
So you've just got to decide when you're going to do the exercise.
Just manage it very well.
Exactly. And I think that's extremely important. You need to sit down with the patient and give a very careful explanation.
Like you said, it's a relapsing chronic condition that unfortunately there is no cure. We've got to maintain it. So how would you advise a patient to maintain rosacea?
What's very important is the correct skincare products.
Okay.
Because people with rosacea have a more sensitive skin. They're often intolerant of products. So they've got to use very gentle products. And also more research has shown that they've got to maintain the skin barrier.
Okay.
So you've got to use products, and then one of my favorite products over the years has been the Bioderma Sensibio range.
Okay.
So you want to use a very gentle cleanser, creams that are sort of soothing.
Yeah.
And how important is sun protection in this equation?
It's very important. I've just attended our annual dermatology congress in Pretoria, and the head of department at Tygerberg told us all the different trigger factors for rosacea, and sun exposure was number one on his list.
So a good sunscreen is important.
Very important.
And actually, Greg, something we've identified recently is there aren't actually a lot of options of sunscreens for rosacea.
No, there's not. And there's in fact a new one from Bioderma, which we have included in our rosacea box that we launched recently. And I think the reason why we love it is obviously they've included their patented rose active ingredient, which we know is a soothing complex that helps with redness. And then you've obviously got your broad spectrum UV filters. It covers high energy visible light, infrared, and it's got vitamin E, antioxidants, fragrance-free, water resistant. So it's got all the benefits of a high-end technology sunscreen, but it's actually indicated for rosacea, which is such a win.
I mean, I'm not a rosacea candidate, but the texture and the application of the sunscreen is really beautiful.
It doesn't feel like a sunscreen.
No, it doesn't. It really is wonderful. So we would pair the sunscreen then with, you've mentioned a gentle cleanser that cleanses gently but thoroughly. What else would we possibly use as skincare product?
Well, one of my favorite ones as a cleanser is the Sensibio micellar water.
Okay.
Because that is pH 5. It, as you said, it cleanses thoroughly but very gently.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is to use the Bioderm also has the BB cream.
Okay.
Which combines the AR cream. It's got a tint and it's got a SPF 30 sunblock in it.
Okay.
So it's an all-in-one.
Okay, and why would you recommend this one specifically?
Well, it's got the AR, which has got these patented ingredients, which are soothing, reduce redness.
Yes.
So the BB is originally beauty balm. So what is nice, it's an all-in-one.
Okay, I think you specifically like it because of the concealing aspect of it. Hey?
So it's got the special tint that helps disguise red.
Okay.
So the patients love that.
Okay.
So what you do is you cleanse your face in the morning with your micellar water, and then we can go on to maybe the active, sort of medical prescriptions.
Yes.
Then you can put on your medical prescription product, and then you just have to put the BB cream on.
Okay.
Because it's got the AR, it's got the tint, and it's got the SPF 30 sunblock.
Okay.
Which is fine for everyday use.
Yes.
But obviously, if you're going to be going out in the sun doing sport, then that's not enough.
Or longer exposure to the sun,
exposure,
then the Photoderm AR would be a better fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to go back to the combination of products, I think a treatment product is also very important in this equation. So we're fortunate enough at Dermastore to have a broad variety of brands. So one of the other ones we recommend is SkinCeuticals Phytocorrective Gel, which reduces inflammation, reduces redness. We've got the Neostrata redness neutralizing serum in the Restore range as well. La Roche-Posay has also got a very good one.
Yeah, the Rosacea AR Intense, which helps again with controlling that redness and soothing the skin. So
what I often find interestingly is that the products are green.
Yeah.
And why? Because green counteracts red.
Conceals the
And
redness.
conceals the
which is
redness, so-
yeah, it's really fun actually. So rosacea can be a little bit complicated. At which stage then is skincare sufficient to maintain the condition, but we actually need to then apply a medical, topical or oral treatment?
So if you're seeing those papules and the pustules, so rosacea is an inflammatory condition. It's not an infectious condition. So if you see those papules and pustules, then you need to attend to those. Okay. And then we've got various topical products. There's a new product just been launched in South Africa. It contains ivermectin, trade name Cilantra, and that's a cream that you use at nighttime.
And that helps reduce the papules and pustules.
Yeah, it helps reduce the papules.
Would a patient, have you heard, do patients squeeze these papules and pustules? Like, when you get acne?
No, generally not, because they're small.
Okay.
So nothing really comes out.
Okay, because that could be quite damaging.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So the Cilantra is interesting because it's ivermectin, and ivermectin...
Controversial.
with the COVID epidemic. But we all carry mites on our skin.
Okay.
Demodex mite, which is a normal part of your skin.
Okay.
But we think with rosacea, people with rosacea have more of the mites. And the way the ivermectin cream works is kills off the mites.
Okay, which controls this inflammatory...
which it's got anti-inflammatory properties. In the past, this is still available, it's still useful, is metronidazole, which is Rosex gel. But Cilantra has been proven to be more efficacious than the Rosex gel. Okay. So I'm basically replacing a lot of my patients with Cilantra.
Okay, and you also mentioned oral.
If the topical prescribed products are not working, then the next step is oral tetracyclines. And I use one of the more modern ones, tetralysyl, which causes less photosensitivity and less GRT problems, so that you will get that inflammatory component under control.
Okay.
And sometimes we do have to use isotretinoin as well, low-dose isotretinoin for rosacea.
Okay, and that's the drug we use to treat acne.
Yeah, but you use it at a much lower dose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We've covered the triggers and the treatments and some of the topical things we can do at home, and also the medical side of it as well, oral and topical. Is there anything else you can do?
We can do laser, especially IPL, intense pulse light. So as a complication of the rosacea, you get these little broken capillaries. And it's been shown that, obviously that's not nice from a cosmetic point of view, but it's been shown that if you do IPL treatment of those broken little capillaries, the rosacea is easier to manage. So it produces a cosmetic improvement, the IPL, but also is a medical improvement. Then they can manage their rosacea easier.
And so IPL is, I feel like nowadays is quite easily accessible and you can get it in a few places. But something that you said earlier stood out to me, that it's a complication. This is a medical condition. So would you advise that the patient seeks a dermatologist for this regard?
Yes, I think as dermatologists, we're uniquely qualified to treat rosacea because it's a medical as well as a surgical treatment.
Okay.
And each patient is different, and we've got unique insights into how to treat the rosacea medically and with the laser treatments.
Okay, it's important because, like I said, it's accessible. IPL is accessible nowadays, but it actually needs to be monitored a little bit more seriously than just having a laser treatment.
Exactly. The laser treatment is on its own. It'll just treat the broken capillaries, but it's not going to cure the condition as such. It'll make the condition easier to manage.
Rosacea, again, is not can't be cured. It's something that every single day you have to use your treatment to maintain the result or maintain the condition, to keep it at bay, help it stay calm, soothe, control that redness. So what are your last final thoughts on rosacea and advice?
Yes, I agree with that. So I think if the patient understands the trigger factors, they use the right skincare products, then they can the ideal thing is to manage the rosacea just with topical treatment. Some people need to be on oral antibiotics, sometimes intermittently for years. But I think if they're managed properly, you can keep them off the oral tetracyclines, off the isotretinoin, and just manage it with topical skincare products. Some of them might be prescription ones. That's the ideal thing.
Yeah, and then also on Dermastore, I mean, Greg, this is part of our services to help the patient navigate through the suitable product for them,
Totally.
Which cleanser.
Yeah, so if you have any more questions, please jump onto our support. We're available during office hours. We've got qualified skin therapists on hand who are trained and sit regularly with Dr. Webster and sit with him and go through their latest case studies and the conferences he's attended. So they're all up to date on this topic as well.
And if you're unsure if you have rosacea or not, or whatever skin condition, you're welcome to chat to us, and we actually often ask for a photo, just a quick selfie of your skin, and this helps us really sort of suggest what sort of products would be best suited to you.
It's a big help. Yeah. A makeup-free photo is always important. Cool, guys. Thanks so much for today, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Dr. Webster.
Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe if you're keen to learn more about what we have to say. We would also really love your thoughts, ideas, and any questions you have for future episodes. You can email us on pod@dermastore.co.za.